So why am I wearing a t-shirt of the 1974 Detroit Wheels? Because today we're going to be talking about the history of the World Football League. The World Football League was around for just 1.5 seasons in 1974 and 1975. While it was a short-lived league and plagued with financial troubles the whole time, it still holds an important place in football history. The WFL was the brainchild of Gary L. Davidson, the man behind the creation of the American Basketball Association in 1967 and the World Hockey Association in 1971. He was also the commissioner of the World Football League in its inaugural season. The WFL played a 20-game regular season schedule in the fall, and most of their games were played on Wednesday and Thursday nights in order to avoid competing with NFL and college games. Some of their rules were a bit different from the NFL. Touchdowns were worth 7 points instead of 6, and they did not kick extra points after touchdowns. Instead, they had what they called the action point, where a team had to run or pass for the extra point. The WFL also placed their goalposts at the back of the end zone beginning in 1974. This was a year before the NFL did the same thing beginning in 1975. The league fielded 12 teams in 1974: the Florida Blazers, New York Stars, Philadelphia Bell, Jacksonville Sharks, Memphis Southmen, Birmingham Americans, Detroit Wheels, Chicago Fire, Southern California Sun, Portland Storm, Houston Texans, and a team simply known as the Hawaiians. Many owners from the World Hockey Association also owned teams in the WFL. Originally, one team was supposed to be located in Toronto, where it was going to be called the Toronto Northmen. They had a polar bear for a mascot. However, the Canadian government did not like the idea of an American pro football team coming to Canada and competing with the CFL's Toronto Argonauts, so they started working on legislation to block the WFL from placing a team in Canada. The Northmen had already signed 3 major NFL stars, all from the Miami Dolphins: fullback Larry Zonka, halfback Jim Kick, and wide receiver Paul Warfield. The league decided to move the team to Tennessee, and it was renamed the Memphis Southmen, with a grizzly bear for a mascot. Because of their NFL contracts, Zonka, Kick, and Warfield were not allowed to play in the WFL until the 1975 season. The first and only World Bowl championship game was played on December 5, 1974, at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, between the Florida Blazers and the Birmingham Americans. The attendance at the game was 32,376. Birmingham held a commanding 22-0 lead at the end of the third quarter. Then Florida scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, but Birmingham hung on for a 22-21 win. 2 teams did not even make it through the first season. The Detroit Wheels and the Jacksonville Sharks both folded due to financial troubles after 14 games. For as bad as things were for the league financially, it did come back for a second season in 1975 with 11 teams. A few teams had new owners in 1975 and therefore changed their names. The Chicago Fire became the Chicago Wind, the Birmingham Americans became the Birmingham Vulcans, and the Jacksonville Sharks became the Jacksonville Express. Larry Zonka, Jim Kick, and Paul Warfield finally suited up for the Memphis Southmen in 1975. The team posted a respectable 7-4 record when the World Football League filed for bankruptcy on October 22, 1975. They were in second place behind the Birmingham Vulcans in the Western Division. Several other notable NFL players also played in the WFL. Quarterback Danny White of the Dallas Cowboys played for the Memphis Southmen in 1974 and 1975. Wide receiver Vince Papale played for the Philadelphia Bell in 1974 and 1975 and went on to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Defensive end Ben Davidson played in the NFL for the Oakland Raiders from 1964 to 1971 and came out of retirement to play for the Portland Storm in 1974. Future New York Giants head coach Jim Fossil was a backup quarterback for the Hawaiians in 1974 and 1975. And quarterback Gary Danielson played for the New York Stars and the Charlotte Hornets in 1974 and the Chicago Wind in 1975 before joining the Detroit Lions in 1977. Financial problems plagued the WFL during its entire year and a half of existence. But all these years later, the league is still remembered, mainly for the 3 Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins players they were able to lure away from the NFL.